What's up, guys? It's Sam here, and I wanted to give an update on my Instagram story ads. But before I do that, make sure you press that thumbs up button. And if you're on YouTube watching this, then there's a little button down there that says subscribe. Just tap that button. And if you're on Facebook, I don't know where it is yet, but jump over to my page and like the page. Looking to get to 10,000 followers in the next year or so. Anyways, now with that being said, I want to touch on what I'm doing and then go over the results of running Facebook or Instagram story ads. Okay, so I generate a small amount of income online, like very small, like less than $1 a day, from Amazon affiliates. There's another one affiliate I got a link on, made $6, and I just got my YouTube channel monetized. So between all of those, in the past, so it's been 4 months since I started. I started in November 1st was when I decided to be completely committed, and since then I've made not very much, less than $60. So if you do the math on that, that's a very small amount per day. In the last month, I think it was like 30 cents per day. So what I'm doing is putting that back into ads to learn how they work in terms of theoretically knowing how they work, but then that's pretty simple, right? But then actually going through the semantics of running an ad, having the creative, doing the targeting, and then getting somebody to convert, right? So I wanted to test it out to learn. And I can do that at a relatively low cost, right? Because if I'm going to spend $1 a day on an ad and I make about 30 cents a day, that means I only end up spending 70 cents per day. So it's kind of discounting how much I end up spending. However, it's doing two other things, right? So it's discounting how much I spend, but I get to learn through that whole entire process, right? Because now I'm understanding how the creative works, how the call to action, how I can get the conversion increase, and A/B testing and split testing and all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm learning all that, which has a ROI that's tremendous, because I can use that going forward, but also I'm driving traffic to where I want it to go. So I wanted to touch on some of those results. So I think this is my 10th, and so my verbiage is probably inaccurate in the vernacular of this world, or whatever you want to call this world of running ads. So this is probably my 7th or 8th ad, generally for a few days up to a week or so, trying to understand how things work and just testing shit. So I think this is probably my 7th or 8th or 10th ad or something like that, and this is performing the best. So I wanted to go over some of the results on that. And let's go here. So I'm just going to go across the campaign. I don't know if I'm supposed to show any of this, so I'm just going to talk about it and maybe flash it up here on the screen real quick. The frequency, which is just the number of people that have seen my things, right? So if my ad came up twice, then that would be 2. So this is a 1.08. So that means the vast majority of people who see it are only seeing it one time, and there's a couple people who see it more than once. The total number of clicks, right? So the click in an Instagram story, right? If you don't know what an Instagram story is, it's just a little bubble, and that goes across the top of the Instagram app if you're not used to it. So I'm running them up there and between stories. So I've got 5 clicks. So that means 5 people swiped up, and what they're swiping up to is my profile. So that's the other benefit, right? Is that I'm actually growing my profile through this process. And I wanted to talk about something very interesting here in terms of the Instagram algorithm and how it actually works, because it's very interesting. I want to talk about the results of that in a second. But okay, so I've gotten 5 clicks, right? And you're like, well, that's not very many, Sam. But so this is 3 days. So getting any clicks is better than what I was getting, okay? And the other thing about the spending $1 a day, like that's my amount to spend. So I think it's been about 3 days, or maybe like 3 days and a quarter, because I started it in the evening. By the way, today is March 14th, 2019. So the total amount that I've spent is $2.46 to reach 134 people. So you would think that maybe 5 people click through to my profile, right? And then you have a certain percentage of those people who actually go through and follow my profile. However, that's not how it's playing out. So 134 people have been reached. The last post, which I can actually pull up right here on my other phone and tell you, the last time I posted something was 3 days ago. So probably when I started this ad, I posted this little video here, and I also track the number of followers and the engagement and everything on a weekly basis for Instagram. So as of March 9th, so slightly before I posted that last one that you saw there, I had 4,267 followers. But I haven't posted. I've been interacting, so that's probably also plays a factor in it, meaning every day I go on and spend, and I think I've missed one of the last 3 days, and I'll spend 10, 15 minutes just leaving actual thoughtful comments on people's pictures or posts, right? So but I've been doing that for the last week, and I didn't see this type of snowball. So as soon as I started this ad, I started getting a lot more followers, a lot more quickly. So as of 5 days ago, I had 4,267 followers, and now I've got 4,282 in terms of. So I increased the number of followers by 15, but if you look back, I only had 5 clicks. So my theory on that is that Instagram's algorithm, and if you know more about this and this is completely off base, let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to know. Or if you have any research or anything like that, let me know. So my theory on this is that if somebody sees my video in the stories, that affects the SEO within. SEO is search engine optimization, so like the discoverability of posts and whatnot through different things on Instagram is increased because somebody consumed some of the content right in the story. So somehow the actual SEO causes that my profile pictures or whatever to show up more frequently in the explore page of Instagram or something, because the amount of exposure has been a lot. And like you can see right here, it's just all follows, which doesn't happen a tremendous amount. So I think that's what's potentially happening, but we'll keep testing this and see how it is going forward. Let's talk about the demographics. Okay, so what I did is I just chose the United States, English speaking, and I think people who like fitness, right? Because it's a posing routine type video that I posted. That's like 14 seconds long. So let's see if I can pull up the actual information I had here. Okay, yes. So it's the United States. It's 18 plus, men and women, English and UK. Interests in workout and interests in physical fitness was what I narrowed it down slightly, and I think that was it. Oh, the only spot I'm starting this ad is in Instagram stories, not in the feed, not on Facebook, not in Messenger, not in WhatsApp. Only spot. Okay. So with that being said, and the results that I'm getting, right? So the cost per click on this, right, is 49 cents per click. And so I'll go over on what I'm gonna do to test something else out. Now to get into the actual demographics, this is the gender, and they break it down by gender and age here. let me just show you this really quickly. So this is the gender and age right here in this section. As you can see, there's about 9% women and 91% men. And that kind of matches up with what my data set on YouTube is, the analytics on YouTube. And what that tells me is obviously the vast majority of the people that are consuming my content or that ad are men. And it's a pretty dispersed, so there's not like a bell curve in terms of like, oh, most people in this age group are looking at it. It's a pretty dispersed group. It's kind of pretty even across the board, which you would expect, right? That's how Facebook's really not supposed to discriminate in that area. So, because I didn't tell Facebook to. So, I am going to actually go through and remove women on this ad targeting thing. Clear, you can tell exactly, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the amount spent, I actually spent more on the women than I did the men, it looks like. Yeah. And then if you break this down by age, oh, here it is. You break it down by age, and the only spot where there's a big kind of spike is 45 to 55-year-olds. And this is combined men and women, but that could be that woman. The women were way more expensive, so maybe it was that women between 45 and 55 is a popular demographic group to target for whatever reason for somebody else who's running ads. So that could be why. And then when you look at the gender, it just breaks it down in a bar graph histogram type of a look, and just shows you that 91% of the 134 people that were reached were men, and the amount that I actually spent on that was actually 84% of the budget. So they reached 94%, but I actually spent less on those, meaning that the women were more expensive to reach in the way using this creative. So it also breaks it down per hour, showing me that the most people are reached between 8 and 9, which kind of makes sense, right? People are just getting to the office. It spikes a little bit, so then it drops down, and then it spikes again around 11 to 12, 12 to 1, and 1 to 2. That's kind of all level. And then it drops back down from 2 to 3, and then it spikes back up between 3 to 4 and 4 to 5, and then it just kind of trails off a lot. So that kind of gives me more data around that. However, it's only 134. So in terms of the reach. So I'm going to continue running this ad, but I think I'm going to do a split, meaning I'm going to continue running this ad to gather more data, and I'm going to start running another one, which means I'll probably end up spending $2 per day. But this is a potential spend, right? It might not, right? I've been running this ad for, I think, slightly over 3 days, and I spent $2.50 almost. So it's not a guaranteed amount that I'll spend, but I'm going to try, two ads, and I'm going to change one variable in the other one to see what performs better. And that way, for me to have two separate ones versus just changing one part of this one is going to, I feel as though it'll be easier to track that way, and maybe you've done this before and you know of a better way to track it. Instead of A/B testing them. Eventually I'll get into that. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I just want to pick one variable to try testing. So I'm going to, it's called a campaign, I guess. And then there's ad sets. So whatever one it is that breaks down the grouping by targeting, I'm going to remove women overall on this. And then in the actual creative, there's no call to action. All it just says is learn more. So in there, through Facebook, not in the actual video, I'm not going to take it out and edit it, but just in Facebook, I'm going to add the call to action is just going to be like, I'm not selling shit or something like that, and just see how that fucks with people and if it converts better. But I'm going to use both of those, but I'm going to take out the women. So both groups are going to be exactly the same in terms of the targeting, right? I'm going to target the same, And there's a way within Facebook so they don't show the same ad to the same person, right? So one will see it without the call to action, one will see it with the call to action that says, I'm not selling shit, right? And then we'll see which one of those converts better over like the next 4 or 5 days. And then I will make an update video for you guys. Anyways, appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Also, if you want to check out Instagram profile, the link is above, I think, on Facebook and below on YouTube. So jump over to Instagram, say what's up, and I will make sure to get back to you. Hope you guys have an awesome fucking night, and I'll talk to you soon.